for now, let's start at the top with our leadership. We have Rick Kellet, Managing Director of Ground Up Investing.
Thanks, Nico, and welcome to everyone. We're so glad you were able to get here this morning, and especially to those on the West Coast. Thanks for joining us at such an early hour. So first, I'd just like to sort of share a little bit of the context, and then I'm going to take you through, where Mountain Harvest sits in our portfolio and our approach to impact investing. But actually, Mountain Harvest is the origin story. This is where it began. In 2016, I came out here on my first overseas trip to see what the potential was for starting impact investing at LWR. And there was a cooperative here that we'd been working with for 10 years that sold fair trade, organic certified coffee into the US and Europe. And it had just gone bankrupt. And it went bankrupt in a pretty spectacular way, defaulting on $3 million of loans. And it was just too big for LWR to bail out. But it created an opportunity for us to just transition and to pivot to a different approach so that we could keep supporting the farmers that we'd been working with for a decade and try a new approach to how we can do development. And so we established a new company, which is now Mountain Harvest, and hired the staff from the failed cooperative and reestablished trade between the farmers and the roasters in Europe and the US that they'd been working with. And have slowly worked to improve the quality of the coffee. And you're going to see how that happens here today. But it's also about expanding the range of capabilities that we can bring to the mountain and to the communities that we work with in the coffee supply chain. And ultimately to making Corus a more capable partner, one that can come to the development process with greater agency, more capabilities, and more resources. So if we step sort of back now to impact investing, this is an approach that we take to overcoming the interconnected challenges of poverty, climate change, and of access to healthcare and education. At the moment, one thing that's very important to keep in mind is that impact investing is just one of the tools in Corus's development toolbox, and it uses investments as a vehicle to deliver on our mission. It's a novel mechanism for a traditional development actor, which enables Corus to become something more and to take funds that we would have used on a short-term basis and deploy them in a long-term position that creates change for people's lives in a sustainable manner. And so we invest in mission-driven companies like Mountain Harvest in order to support interventions that improve the quality of life for smallholder farming families by increasing incomes and providing services that improve the productivity and sustainability of their farms. And though our current focus is in investing in smallholder agriculture through agribusinesses like Mountain Harvest, our long-term goal is to enable investments that increase access to quality healthcare and education in collaboration with other members of the Corus family. So just a quick overview of the structure for those that are who may not be familiar with it. Ground Up Investing is a wholly owned subsidiary of Lutheran World Relief, which is a member of the Corus family. And it's funded through a combination of gifts from individual donors engaged through Lutheran World Relief and institutional donors that make grants potentially at the LWR Corus level and sometimes and currently more frequently at the portfolio company level. And then Ground Up works with social lenders to increase access to finance for some of the portfolio companies. And we're almost always accompanying other investors into those companies. Mountain Harvest is really unique. It's the only company in which we own a majority stake. And in fact, we own the whole company. And in that way, it is our learning laboratory, and it is the incubator of new capabilities for Corus. So I want to quickly introduce you to the team. Impact investing began in 2016. There were just two of us at the time in Baltimore, myself and Sylvia Demiti. And Kenneth, as the sort of early adopter and trailblazer in the field, he was at that time the country director of LWR in Uganda and has since transitioned to being the managing director of Mountain Harvest. Matt Scanlon, who's now a member of the team, actually joined us initially as a member of the Investment Advisory Committee. And then more recently, Nico Hare, who you saw a few moments ago, came in to help us really improve quality, branding, and marketing and sales of Mountain Harvest coffees to generate those higher prices that enable us to deliver more services. And then most recently, a year ago, we were joined by Louis Costriato, who's helping to build a new consumer products company within the Corus family. And of course, we have members today of our investment advisory committee, Jeff Trinkline, Joe Carlin, and the rest here, who are critical to enabling us to continue to professionalize our investment capability and build social capital and networks in professional circles. So I just want to make sure we've acknowledged all of them, and they'll have a chance to ask questions later about team or supporters. So now I want to really just dig into looking at what is our approach to impact investing in the smallholder agriculture space, and how is it, how are you going to see it manifest today in Mountain Harvest? So putting Mountain Harvest in the context of our broader strategy. So most smallholder farmers are trapped in poverty and are trapped in commodity markets, and there's just not enough money in a commodity priced product to have a living, to earn a living income. And we set that benchmark there quite high. It may be a little bit lower as we go through this, but it's still a far reach for somebody that's selling into commodity markets. And one of the first things you can do is get certified, and that creates a little bit more margin that can support improvements in farmer productivity and potentially even income. But it doesn't get you very far. What really matters is increasing the quality of the product that you're exporting or selling in local and regional markets, and increasing, most importantly, the brand value. It's through the brand value that we generate the margin that's necessary to ultimately pay farmers up for a higher farm gate price and invest in the services that enable them to increase the productivity of their farms. And that last part plays out in a number of really interesting ways. But to do that, you've got to invest in taking the product into higher quality, higher priced markets, specialty markets, premium markets, and really super high-end markets. At Mountain Harvest, we've been moving from the certified level up, and we'll come back to the challenges and the opportunities with that. But as we invest that extra value that we're generating through improved export prices, we're both able to provide farmers with a higher price, which you saw in the blue bar, and through services help them increase the productivity and the yields of their coffee harvests. And that gives them a higher price on a higher volume, which moves them in the most significant way towards a living income. But we're also investing in other crops. And this is really one of the most important aspects of this approach, is that we help the farmers both add additional sources of revenue and diversify their income sources. So that, here at Mountain Harvest, we've been focusing on honey, avocados, and then certain staple crops like legumes that actually do more than just help increase income, they help increase food security. And what, just to sort of wrap things up at this stage, it's very difficult to move farmers from a commodity market into a higher priced market. And so generally speaking, our portfolio approach is to invest in companies that are closer to the top of this pyramid, and then expand the reach of those companies to bring more farmers into their supply chain. And so what this pyramid is laying out is, at the bottom you have the highest volume, lowest price. At the top you have the highest price, lowest volume. And we're looking for that sweet spot where very talented entrepreneurs are bringing the value that they've generated in the top two segments down into specialty and creating better than average opportunities using this approach that we've adopted.